should we draw? What would you like to draw with?
Charcoal.
Charcoal? Okay. I always tend to go to my Vine charcoal first. I do this because, again, it's so easy to correct. Like if I start laying in something in the drawing.
Should we be going for soft charcoal, medium? What kind of weight?
You chose charcoal there, huh?
Yeah.
What are you using? Soft or medium?
Let's start really simple. How's that? Either the charcoal pencil or your dark graphite. So I'm going to start with a pencil before I even look at a face.
Like a 2B or 4B, a 6B?
2B or 4B is the question. I'm going 4. I don't know. I just happen to have it in my hand. Starting with a face. We're doing an adult face because they are different. If you did a child, you would notice, I think we talked about this, that there's more cranium, and that's from birth. It pushed through that birth canal. There's smaller structure in the lower part of the face, and that part of the face grows into the skull. The eyes actually don't change size too much, so a child's eyes tend to be bigger and tend to fit the face as it grows kind of into the eyes almost. So if, for instance, just as an example, we took one of these faces, my students would die if they knew I was still using these photos, and I'm trying to think, this is her hair, it's fairly thick. Can everybody see through my head okay? Okay. And the camera. So I'm considering that the top of her skull is about here, and here's her chin. So if I take that measurement, oh, did I leave? I bought measuring sticks this week. They're at home. They're just little skewers, which are kind of good, so I was going to hand them out, but I'll do that next week. So from the top of her head to her chin is about there. If I did this with a ruler, which I don't have, her eyes are just about halfway on the head. Most people don't consider that. What we tend to think of is that here's the face, and we want to put the eyes up here. Because we forget about under the hair. We're thinking up to the hairline. So we want to break that habit of thinking, and you can actually measure. You can do it on yourself if you take and you measure from your chin to your eyes, about where your pupil is, from the eye to the top of the head.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Right? It's about halfway. If you look at yourself in the mirror or something, it's like, oh, wow. Everybody's a little bit different, but we're going to start with a generality of that. So when I start with a head, we want to think of the top of the head and the chin. So we want the face, and right this time we're thinking our simple two-dimensional shapes. We haven't done the three-dimensional really yet. So see, I do remember that, where we were. And I'm going to put kind of an oval in here. Remember how we kind of drew in the air or held our fingers and the pencils up until we feel comfortable with that. And this is just a general shape. If we start looking at other faces, see hers is almost as wide as it is high, hers is longer, things like that. But generally speaking, now you want to draw a line halfway. You're not thinking of this as a face right now. You're just thinking of it as an oval that has a line about halfway. And then we'll do a halfway vertical as well. I'm going to move the camera. I know I'm going to be standing right in front of this. Okay. My line's not in the middle. Okay. Am I still standing in front of it? I think I am. So you have that. Usually the first thing we do are the eyes. I don't know if I gave you just the face, I think. Did I send that to you? I did not send you this one. And this has kind of my step-by-step instructions to help you remember. It looks busy, but I like to walk you through it first. Draw the oval, measure halfway to the eyes. And then approximately there, halfway, maybe up, a little higher than halfway, for the hairline. And approximately halfway to the chin. Will be somewhere between the base of the nose, or not the tip of the nose. Because if you look around the room, the tip of the nose, here, no, I'm going to do it, is actually higher than the base of my nose. Right? So you can see that. So anyway, somewhere in there, depending on the length of their nose, the size of their chin, there's a special name for this. Do we have a medical person? What's this upper, not the upper lip, but the space between the nose and the, no.
It does have a name. Full
It does have a name, full
something.
something. There was a portrait artist, and she was doing a teaching, and she had the names for the distance between the this and the this and the this and the this. I'm like, you're going to lose people with those names. They're just trying to draw. All right, and I'm going to try to follow what I did here. So we kind of have this laid out now. The eyes, we usually like to start with the eyes, right? Because that's our focal point, and it is the most important part of the face.
Philtrum.
Yeah.
Fulcrum.
Philtrum.
Philtrum.
With a PH, not an F.
Oh, well, I can't spell.
H-I-L, whoops.
PHILTRUM.
Philtrum.
What is that name?
Yes,
That's this.
the upper lip, the stiff upper
It's
lip.
the trap and train.
Okay.
Yeah, not the lip, it's the space between the
Yeah,
upper lip and the
That's
nose.
when they say.
Philtrum. There was something I was going to draw. I don't remember. So, between, I'm estimating right now. You know how we do little tick marks to kind of measure this. Tick mark up here, down here. These are basic tick marks to help us measure. The eyes are a little different. If you're looking at somebody straight on, between the eyes is another size of an eye. So there's an eye between the eyes, or the space of an eye, and it's almost the same to the edge of the face, looking straight on. So that's a fifth. This is a little tricky measurement. I'm going to start here. I'm going to make some little tick marks again, just to try to measure, so it looks like there's an eye, and kind of an eye out to the end and eye out to the other side. It's a little awkward measurement, but it's fine. Is it warm in here?
Uh-huh.
It says 71.
Yeah.
Also known as
Drop
warm.
it a bit. And I just do that lightly to kind of show you the measurement of that. So our eye would be here and here, these two. I was doing something last night. I was doing a drawing on a Zoom with a group in New Orleans, a great group. And I kept looking for an eraser, but I had left my box here. Okay. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I, at one point, took time. I tried to study how few lines I could make that would say face. And what I came up with was the eye, the iris, nostrils, and the mouth. As long as you get those on a face, you're basically saying, this is a face. It's recognizable. It's a beautiful face. It's cute. Then we add things on that. The eyes are obviously the most important. We have to watch as we're drawing that the nostrils don't get too dark. If you're looking at somebody, they're as dark as the pupil, but you don't want to do that in an artwork. it will distract. Distract. All right, so we have the eyes, approximately. I'll do a couple of these details as I'm going along. On the eye, it basically, generally speaking, goes, if you have an eye, this is the nose here. Sorry. If you divided the eye opening, it would basically go up about a third on the inside toward the nose and kind of slant down about 2/3. Generally speaking, again, everybody's eyes are different. The lower lid kind of goes slower down 2/3 and about up a third. In the structure of the eye is the eyeball. The eyeball sits within the skull. It's about the size of the skull. So that's why we feel, if you feel the ridge of your bone up here, that's where the eyebrow sits. And down here where you have your tired lines, that's the bottom of the skull. That special name, that's a medical name for the skull. You know, and so that helps us. So here we know that our eyebrow's doesn't come down to the nose. It's going to follow that ridge line. So it's going to go up and kind of down, right, for the eyebrow. In the eyeball, the pupil sits in the center, not the pupil, the iris, right? This is a naked eyeball. And then the pupil, like this. And what happens is the skin wraps around that to hold it in and to make it move, and has muscles there, and you can study those muscles. Tends to be that the top part, the top lid, will cover the most of the iris, not most of it, but a good part of the iris. And the bottom just kind of skims across the bottom of that iris. So when you get done, you've got, see, I would turn my paper now, and I can't turn it where I am here. You have the iris and the pupil within the eyelid. So you're not going to put it right in the center of the opening, because we know that the top lid covers part of it. Is this making sense? Am I being clear about it? Yep, okay. If you can see the person's upper lid, that will kind of curve around where that is. So I'm going to put this in. This is important. The size of the eye and that iris is really important inside in the face. And that's why by measuring, we should have a good idea that we're getting it in the proper location and approximately the right size. And all I need here is readers. That's all I know. I've learned a trick when I'm painting. At the beginning of my paintings, I take my glasses off. So, because it used to be, you know, they'd like squint. Well, I don't have to squint because I take my glasses off. Paintings come out a lot more relaxed that way.
Yeah, good.
Okay, again, simplifying the shapes. You notice that I kind of made the mouth in the shape of an M, right? It's kind of an M. And what that is not the upper lip, it's the opening. It's not the upper lip that's important, it's the opening. So this would be the lower part of the upper lip, the opening to the mouth. if I were gonna draw in the lip,
Excuse me.
bless you, you know, it would kind of go like this. Right, so that's the upper lip. If you look at it sideways, it comes off the philtrum. Philtrum, then the lip is this part is at an angle in. This is the upper lip. Then the lower lip comes out, kind of a curve, and then there's that curve. It's probably named for that thing, under the lip. Some people have that more pronounced than others, but it's there. So there's the upper lip, which is basically a shadow, right? This is going to be a shadow. And then you have the lower lip with a, whatever that thing is, and there's a light shadow under there. So that's not really a line there, it's more kind of just a shadow under there. I'm looking around the room, I don't see anybody that really does not have that. Everybody has a little bit of one. Some people, their little chin line is more pronounced. I don't think mine is. I think mine's more, I can't remember. I don't look at myself in the mirror very often. I look to put makeup on, but I look at individual features. So kind of an M. We had decided bottom of the mouth and we wide M. So I'm gonna say this is the base of the nose, right where it hits the philtrum. But I'm not gonna do anything with it yet. And then the philtrum's there, and then the mouth. That's a long kind of M. If you notice on most people, the middle of the upper lip has kind of a little peak, right? And that's why I think of it as an M. Where did the corner of the mouth come? Under the iris, right? So, and I've got all these lines, you go like, what are all these lines? If you draw a line down from the iris, generally speaking, that's where the corner of the mouth is going to be. So you're always doing these back and forth measurements as you're drawing someone. You go like, okay, do I have this about the right space? Is the corner of the mouth? I have a small mouth. I have friends that have larger mouths, but it's still about the same. And the difference is when you open up your mouth. I can only open mine so far. I have a friend who's a singer. Her mouth goes out to here. And then if this is, I'm not going to draw it, but the philtrum's in here, then the nostrils will be kind of off to the side. And they're kind of in a very spread out V, more or less. Just kind of giving you ideas that help you, like if you do nostrils like this, you know, you're going to look like a pig. It's not going to work. Right? So you want to kind of minimize them, but you want to look at people too. If you look around the room, different people's are at a slightly different angle. My mother's which had large nostrils, and they showed a lot more from the front than other people. So some are more at an angle, some are more straight. It's actually kind of, it becomes like that little, you know, kind of curve where the opening is. Oh, my face looks horrible here. That's all right. It can make you guys feel good. So we have the basic features of the face. Ta-da. And you don't want to outline. The nose, there's no lines on the nose. It looks to be a line on your eyelids. There's an opening to your mouth that comes across as a line. But on your nose, there's really not. It's all just curving planes. So you don't want to have your nose look like this. Okay. Right? It looks amateurish. It's not a line, but there is shading when you get into shading. I can't do it on here. But if we were doing it here, you know, you decide, okay, these have a name too. I have no idea what these are called, right? The little fleshy areas on the side. There would be, if the light were coming from this direction, a soft shadow going at this side of the nose. So that's what creates the illusion of a line, but there's no line there. Same with the, now the philtrum is the space between, right? But what is this little thing called? The divot. What's the divot? Yeah? We'll keep Trisha busy. She's always drawing too fast anyway. We'll keep her.
Well, let's see.
Pretty sure it has a name.
Well, it just says that the space around it is the upper lip, and the divot is the philtrum.
The divot is the philtrum, not the space between, so the divot.
I guess, and then the little things on the outside of the philtrum have a name too, and they're called nares.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nares.
Nares.
Okay.
Wait, on the raised part of the philtrum, or
Yeah.
these
Yeah, these little lines.
the little lines?
They're nares. I didn't know,
I didn't know.
but this is a very detailed diagram of the face.
Oh, can you send me that link?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Then I can use proper language. All right, what's next? Where are the, I want to say ears. Okay, and this point would be a good time to adjust the outline of the face. You know, is it thinner? Do they have a large forehead? Is it more of a round face? You know how you went through those things? It's a heart-shaped face and a round face, and then, you know, mine's. And it's interesting when we do portraits, we tend to draw other people a little bit like ourselves.
That's why my face came out square.
Is
All
it a
Irish
square?
people were born with giant square heads, and I had to go back and make it an oval because.
Yeah, no, you're drawing yours.
Yep.
So I'm gonna say, okay, that I might bring this in a little bit. It looks a little wide at the temple. On the outline of the face, see if that's when I do this here. Yes. We think about where the bones are. If you're looking straight on, you're seeing like the skull, the temple goes in, the cheekbones from the front, right? The cheekbones are here. The jaw, the big angle part of the jaw is down here. It's not really near the cheek, but from the front, you go into the temple, out to the cheekbones. They start to hollow in, and then from the front, you can see the jawline. That goes out, and then it kind of starts to come in, and then the chin comes out. So you have this temple, cheekbone, kind of hollowing into the cheek. Then from behind, the jaw kind of comes out a little bit, kind of goes into the, under there, and then down to the chin. So there's structure under there. There's bones and there's muscles. And you don't have to do this exactly every time, but if you have the understanding, it's going to help your drawing. And again, at this point, this is fairly heavy. I would do it very lightly when I'm laying out, because if I need to make adjustments, you want to do it early on. The skull, of course, the forehead, and then you have the cranium, which is good size up there. No hair yet, that's just decoration. And we even, we don't leave decoration for last. This eyeball is, iris is too big. I'm not doing a super finished drawing. Again, if you can see the upper lid, just that fold. And it's where when you close your eyes, the skin is flat, but there's extra skin there. When you open your eye, it has to fold back in on itself. You guys know this, but it's just like you probably haven't thought about it for a long time. Where are the ears? The ears tend to be basically between the eye and the mouth. Christina's measuring. You can do that. So usually the top of the ear is here and the bottom of the ear is somewhere down here. The ear tends to be in a B shape. Again, you can see that upper it's not really a lobe up there, right? And then it kind of goes in, and then the lobe kind of pops out. So you've got kind of the upper one, and then it kind of curves in, and then the lobe comes out. So kind of like this. And it's a backwards V over here. I have tiny ears, my mother's ears.
You have a little.
My father's ears were, they were just real, but he was 6'2", you know, so it fit.
Yeah.
Our ears get bigger as we age as well.
Oh, that's gravity. It just, same with the nose, right? Just keeps growing and pulling down. Remember being a teenager thinking, I'm gonna stand on my head every day for like 10 minutes, fight gravity. I never followed through with that, obviously. The neck, you don't want a pencil neck. You can't have a little skinny neck to hold up the head. It needs to come out, again, looking straight on, because it's different when we do sideways. So if you understand straight on and you understand profile, then we start playing around with the different tilts of the face by dividing. But we'll do this first, so obviously. It tends to come out from right here, and I very well know there's a nerve between where it comes up from the neck and joins the head. It's right under the ear, and then it goes down, and then these strong,
Sternocleidomastoid.
that's the one I'm thinking of right there, yeah.
She's a massage therapist.
My daughter is too, where do you work?
Well, she's
I'm not
certified,
anymore.
but she's not doing it now.
Oh, my daughter.
Now she's a mental therapist.
Good, both. You can get, you know, well, mentally, and my daughter's at Grove Park. I was just wondering.
Oh, I've heard that's the best place to work around here.
Well, she started out in Maine at a historical hotel, so when they moved down here, she could get into any historical hotel.
Oh, nice.
But what they charge
Yeah.
is not what the massage therapists get. As you
Right.
know. Yeah.
Hopefully they're tipped well.
She does pretty well, I think. Yeah, she's been there a while now. So it comes out from under the ear and kind of down into. Now, as it comes down into your body, from behind, these muscles, trapezius, come out from behind, but they don't come here and out. They come from, behind the neck. So it's not exactly attached, so you can start to see the definition there. Reason we put a neck on is because we don't want a floating head. Looks weird if you just have the head and no neck. Do we have most of the parts? I think we're good. Now we can, once you get the placement and the measurement of most of your parts, you can start adjusting it to the specific person. I love just looking around this room, everybody looks different. I mean, you know, that's why I love doing portraits, is everyone's so different. Now hair, this is simplified. We said here, I have a higher forehead, so I'm gonna start my hair out higher. Hairline, from there, it kind of goes back and down. So you wanna start here, it grows out, maybe down. Here it will go back. And see how you can add some height here, because it doesn't fit right on the skull. Of course, there's some height. Unless you're bald, and then that's another whole story. If you have bangs, they're gonna come from there, from that hairline. It's all gonna start there. For instance, if it's long hair, comes down, falls onto the shoulder, neck. That's kind of it. Those are kind of the step-by-steps. To make a, women's heads, generally speaking, we tend to have curves. Even our bones and our muscles make a softer line usually. Men's tend to be more angular. When we are doing portraits, we can exaggerate that a little bit. So say we want to make this into the guy. I'm going to sharpen the angles. More straight lines probably. I'm going to widen the neck. you know, football players, that muscle back here that she said trapezius, thank you, is super defined because they have to, because they were running into things with their stupid heads. Well, what it does to their brains is
that's not
horrible. Not a good sport. So thicker there, more angular. We can even be a little more angular with eyes, maybe a little heavier. Again, this is being kind of genderist. I don't say sexist or genderist. And can add, if it's a mustache, of course it'll grow out of the nostrils, but you know, from the lips. So think about how that's doing. We can give them a little goatee if we want.
That's amazing.
A little sideburns aren't, they don't do those anymore, but yeah, you could give them sideburns, heavier eyebrows, long-haired hippie here. I don't know. But little things like that, you can make changes.
Yeah.
Try to keep your hand up off your paper or you get this. It do.
It's so hard.
Again, start with a light pencil or a light charcoal or something, and then you can add it in. Beard would come, again, it's adding hair. Watch where the beard, you know how some guys have those bald spots? Over here, or, you know. Anyway, I'm just playing around with it now. On the nose, when you start to shade, we talked about the tip of the nose being above where the nose meets the philtrum. And if you were shading it, there'd be kind of a shadow, a light shadow under that. Again, it's not a line, there's no bubble to outline it. But if you're thinking about it, you want to think of that. The tip of the nose does not come down to, very rarely, I mean every now and then somebody's got a nose that goes straight out, but, or people with, there's a nose condition where it really becomes bulbous and heavy. Simple face. Video space the other day. I want to quickly do a side view. Can I do a side view and then we'll come back to this, or do you want to go right, you want to practice this first?
I'd like the instruction.
Yeah, quick side view, because we're not going to do it today. Again, it's kind of an oval. If you think of the head, you've got the hemisphere, right? You've got the equator around the middle. It goes from the eyes to the ears. You've got the center of the front of the face, and from front to back, the ear sits just about halfway. Nice measurements. Measurement, measurement. And then of course the shape of the head is a little different from the side, but you are still going to have, I want to bring this in a little bit. The eye, and it's not the eye, if you look at me profile wise, it's not at the edge of the face. I don't have, the eye is not here. The eye is not here. It sits back a little bit. It starts sitting back. But we're looking at it sideways. I mean, the eyeball is still there, but the way the skin is more of a kind of a V. That skin comes out over the eyeball, eyelid. Again, the iris sits, about a third of the iris is up under that top lid, basically touching the bottom lid, pupil. The forehead comes down, it starts to dip in, the nose comes out. I didn't measure for the mouth here. We can do those same border lines. The lip. Beep, beep.
Sorry.
It's okay.
What is the reason that we are using more of a flat top for the side profile?
I didn't. I just.
Oh, okay, it's just how it was rendered, okay.
This is awkward.
Yeah.
It's awkward at this.
Okay.
Yeah. And trying to.
Makes sense, I just thought it was a choice.
Nope. No. Because I'm thinking, because the skull would be larger back here actually, but anyway. And this forehead is too shallow. This is why I use my vine charcoal to start. Under the eye, the opening of the mouth is under the eye. Comes back, chin, and the neck comes off. Shoulders here, that looks really thin. Just very roughly. Here would be the ear, right? From a side view, I'm just doing a quick sketch here. Hair, back, back, back. Always think of the direction the hair is flowing. This is just really, really loose. But by knowing this, and I'll send this out, that nose is really small. But again, that's why I would make adjustments at this point. Once you understand the halfway line in the front on face, halfway line in the profile, where the eyes are, you take that on a sphere, you imagine a sphere or an egg, line drawn around this way, line drawn this way, and one line this way. You can tilt that egg. You can go to a craft store and buy one of their styrofoam or wooden eggs or something. And you can tilt it to see where each feature is going to go. And then you have to make the features fit within that. I've run out of. So here's my face, that's the center line, the center. I'm doing this very, very fast, so it's not going to be great. This is a different paper. I'm not used to this paper. So if this face were looking down, the ear, I'm seeing this, but maybe your nose, this eye here. So you'd have this line to keep the eyes on. You're going to see less of this side because it's away from you, and you're going to see more of this one because it's toward you. Your upper lip starts there. You see less of it on this side. Cheek, hollow cheek, chin here. And this is very rough, and I apologize, it's not great. I haven't stepped back to see it. But by doing that, you can get people twisting and turning.
So the jaw is kind of under the ear, and then the suboccipital lobe is around the mouth. I'm having trouble conceptualizing how to draw that space between where this back of the skull comes in and where the jaw is under the ear. Like drawing that part.
On the front?
Like this, theoretically on like maybe a Zoll person. That's
Right.
between here and here. What that might look like.
Because it attaches up in here, right? And I'm aware of that because I had Bell's palsy once. So this nerve, the nerve comes up here. There's a hub of the nerve, and then it spreads out over the face like this.
And then behind the jaw.
That's behind the
How
jaw.
do we render that? Like this space.
Well, that's this tendon. Is this a tendon or muscle? It's a tendon, isn't it? This is hard.
What are you referring to exactly? Because this that comes into the clavicle right here, that's the sternocleidomastoid.
Which is a tendon or a muscle?
That's a muscle.
It's a thick muscle.
There are tendons in there, but I mean the sternocleidomastoid specifically.
Yeah,
is a
and it's
muscle.
very strong because it's one of the first muscles we start using, right, as babies when we're lifting our heads and stuff. So is that the connector in that space? It all attaches there.
I have no idea, honestly, what's between the suboccipital and where the jaw starts, like this area. The sternocleidomastoid comes here, it comes front. I have no idea.
Because there's nothing on the skull there. The skull stops up here. The jaw connects in here. This is all tendons and muscle. Because from here, it's only the backbone is a bone that attaches, right? And that curves and moves. I'm not answering your question because I probably don't know. That's fascinating. So when you're doing, a side, this is not accurate again, so. That's, my ear's not low enough, is it? Okay. I got way too, that looks better. So this curves out and, I'm gonna have to study that. See, I would study that more. I need more brain pan back here. But try to get what's under first, get it rendered well and structurally well before you add glasses. You have to get what's underneath the hair, what's underneath the glasses before you add these things on. And then to make it look like glasses, you take your thing that I've lost, eraser, and you draw highlights across. He's wearing his blue light things. But there's often a highlight across the glass. Of course, now we have these special glazes. It's not glaze on it. It gets tiring. I'm talking nonstop and thinking and trying. Like right now, if I look at Catherine, the lights are reflecting off her glass, so the left eye is almost, I can't see it very well because there's a highlight on the glass over. But you want to get the eye down correctly first and then bring that over. Either, in charcoal you would erase it. I would probably have used this eraser instead of the one I did because it's more controllable. Also in an eye, a little highlight. And I often leave, not where the shadow is, but I will often leave. See how I left a lighter space there? I've kind of learned that over the years as a highlight. And sometimes a highlight will come across the iris as well. And it's a ball, so it's going to be slightly curved. Right, you don't usually get a straight line on a curved surface. Learning. Shading's too dark.
Yeah.
That's okay. But setting out the things, it looks like the nose that your philtrum is too small.
Too small.
Don't you think? Between. Now,
Because I moved it around a lot, so yeah.
this
not
is a
surprised.
face at rest. That's why I had my students just like blank stare. If you smile,
Oh, it
the
does.
cheeks go up, the eyes get squinty, the corner of the mouth goes up. If you open your mouth, that pulls the chin down. So all of these things start changing.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay.
Sure.
Looks like you've drawn, but I think your eyes are a little big if you brought them in just a touch. See, they're a little wide here. You get an eye between, a little less than this
Yeah,
to the.
too close to the edge. Yeah.
Yeah, so, but just a little
Okay.
plastic surgery on those guys.
Yeah.
I think that. These are smaller and harder to. This is good. Wait, thank you. You mind? You know.
Wow.
It says face. It says good face. How do you do teeth?
Good Lord, this
You
little girl.
Don't. That'd be me. I don't.
Teeth.
Get commissioned by a dentist.
Ugh.
You do actually. You kind of have to sometimes. Somebody's smiling. Very nice. Good proportions. Let me show kind of teeth. Teeth you would have to, right?
It actually, if you ever watch, well, it's probably kind of niche, but like animatics, like they normally don't draw the teeth, and then sometimes they will draw the teeth. It throws you off. Like I don't know. I don't think it's necessary. You probably want to learn it.
First thing is, teeth and the whites of the eyes are not white. They are about the same, if you're going to be shading, about the same tonal value as the highlight on the skin. And a lot of people make them white, and it looks weird. But a mouth, let's say,
I don't know. Some people do bleach their teeth to the point now that when they open their mouth, you kind of go, ah!
and look at them under a black light.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's like, what is that? Okay, I'm going to try to do a mouth here. Again, this line is the opening of the under the upper lip. Okay. Top of the bottom lip. I don't know why you want to do teeth, but okay.
Well, it's in this little girl. Yeah, that's what's throwing me.
And she's kind of like,
Oh, you're
"Huh."
right.
Oh, let me
That's
look at.
the one I'm working on. It's like
Yeah.
I've been avoiding that mouth.
Oh, she has teeth. Thanks, Ellie. Yeah, it's better to indicate it in value than anything. The simplest way to do teeth, because this lip, as it's open,
That's what I need value.
is going to be casting a shadow onto the teeth too. So they're not going to be that bright. So this is just shadow. In the middle, right? There's one tooth in the middle. There's shadow under that. So what I do is I kind of hint at just little definitions of the teeth going back and maybe a hint of that shadow, because as this angle of the upper lip casting a shadow on the teeth, very close up, it's going to follow that curved shape of each tooth very slightly. So it's going to be more in the shading that you indicate teeth rather than drawing, I'm in the way of the camera again, rather than drawing the teeth out. This is the upper lip. Nope, that's not working. This is not my typical paper, I'm finding out. I'm gonna make this lip a little darker, just so it stands out more. This person has lipstick on. We had a model last night, she had bright red lipstick and bright red fingernail polish, which just is not natural. It's like in college once, we had a model, we had nude models usually, which helps you understand the structure of the human figure and stuff. But this one figure, she was new and she came in a bathing suit, which cut across unnaturally a lot of the, like the way the leg comes up into the groin area and the hip is different. And then the bathing suit just goes straight across it like that. It's just totally, it's like, don't even do it.
I took a figure drawing class at the Los Angeles County Museum of Art, and the lady sitting next to me was 98 years old. And we had a male model. And about the third class, I looked over and I realized she hadn't drawn a line. there wasn't a mark on her paper.
She was
And
too
I said, "Are you
fascinated.
here to draw, or are you here to stare at the hot naked dude?" She said, "I'm here to stare at the hot naked." She said, "At my age, this is really the only naked chance you're going to get to see a naked man." So she was just there.
Wonderful.
She was just there for appreciation.
Yeah, I have a couple of friends that go to a new drawing thing, and they're older men, and they get these beautiful girls, you know, and I'm like, they're not the most interesting ones to draw, you know, the
Yeah.
perfect shape ballerinas.
Yeah.
Well, ballerinas are because they're so angular and thin, but somebody who has the perfect body, I mean, it looks beautiful, but
Boring.
boring.
Yeah.
I like, my favorite model was this lady. She had to weigh 250 at least, and she was just this. And I'm like, this is fun, you know, when you're doing all these folds, and it was so much fun.
Totally.
But yeah, the guys just sit there and end up getting distracted by these beautiful bodies, and I'm like, come on, guy, get over yourself. Does that help with teeth a little bit? Her teeth are definitely. She still has a baby teeth here,
Yeah, yeah,
so they're tinier and they're fitting in the mouth.
yeah. And then you've got her gum showing.
And then her gums are showing.
Anyway, I
and-
may ignore that.
So I'd say simplify it if
Yeah,
you can.
okay. That I can.
Otherwise, we end up with you know, and we don't want this. This is kind of what we're seeing, but you know, you don't.
Yeah.
You want it's a cartoon mouth. It's going to end up looking like that. If while you have her out, if you have her out, measure from her chin to her eyes. Right, by putting the eyes here and then stuffing your fingers at the base of the chin. Do this for the camera. Chin to the eyes. And then from her eye, well, no, she's top of the head. That's almost the same. Well, she's smiling. Drops the chin. Boom. I'm like, why is that the same? It shouldn't be the same. I have a picture of my grandson, and his is definitely, it's not quite 1/3 to 2/3 when he was a baby, but it's getting close to that. Older people. That's why it's nice to start with a young, healthy face, because the skin is good, you know, it's kind of as it should be. Older people, everything starts coming down. You know,
Yeah.
this gravity is getting to us. We can go and have facelifts. It doesn't matter. Eventually, it's going to come back at you. Can't fight gravity. Can't fight nature, right? So notice where it is, off the jowls. This part of the skin gets very loose. I've got this great turkey neck that my grandson loves to play with, you know. It's nice and soft, Mimi. I was like, leave my neck off.
Quit reminding me.
Yeah. If I had something to lift, I'd probably do that one. But the eyes, where the eyes settle on that skull bone, it's more pronounced. Everything's kind of down, and then lines. Lines are not really lines. I mean, you could kind of add a line in, but it's more the shading with it. So she's got a lot of lines. Try to think shading, because a line is actually a wrinkle. Let me think how this. It's a crease, right? So it's kind of a crease. So when you're shading it, you're thinking of long cylinders, but not everybody's taken my drawing class yet, right? But it's basically a line is a cylinder, and then you shade it like a cylinder, the highlight and then the shadowed side. That's not what this class was about. This is about people that no, but
Are we going to go into values at all in this class, or?
yeah, I thought next week.
Okay, cool.